Hi, friends. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani, along with Jerry Usher and you. This is your show, our monthly Unscripted, a very popular show where we revisit past topics, we suggest new ones, we talk about anything. And actually today, Jerry, I'm on location in Tampa, Florida, waiting to get ready for the incredible, I just know that it's going to be spectacular wedding of Jack Williams and Janet Benkovic, and I'm just so thrilled. I have to tell you the funny story of Marty and I landing here in Tampa. It was pretty hilarious. But, well, hi, Jerry. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. I was waiting for the story there, but how about maybe we should give the phone number out first, get these lines filled up with whatever anybody wants to talk about. So you can do the honors if you'd like.
Okay, whatever's on your mind or your heart. If you want, like we said, if you want to revisit some past subjects, we're willing to do that. We took many notes, so we are pretty up to speed on the past topics. But here's the number: 1-833-288-3986. You can ask us anything. We can talk about anything, pretty much anything, within reason. But please call in, because Unscripted is a very fast show, and we like to get to as many calls as possible. So it's 1-833-288-3986.
That's right. It's sort of an open forum. It's kind of like we're all gathered around, say, a campfire or a coffee table, and you're just musing about what's going on in the world, in your life, in your family. And if there's a challenge that you're dealing with right now, or maybe you've hit some kind of a milestone, maybe a graduation or a wedding coming up, birthday, we can talk about anything. If you've got a favorite devotional or prayer, again, it's your opportunity to completely pick the topics and set the table. 833-288-EWTN. And on Unscripted, Debbie, I can see the lines are already filling up, so hustle you guys if you want to get on. But so tell me, Debbie, what happened when you and Marty landed?
Okay, so funny story, but it may not be so funny at 4:00 this afternoon. Okay, Jack and Jonette's wedding is at 4 p.m. this afternoon. So dear Take Two family, please remember that, because please, that's Eastern time. Please be praying, because when we landed in Tampa, Jerry, there was a major thunderstorm. Our plane just landed. We got in time, and they closed the Tampa airport.
Wow.
We could not get our luggage until, now we landed about 6:30 in the evening. We couldn't get our luggage till 11:30 at night. Okay.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, so I started thinking, well, maybe, this is a good sign. It's all these thunderstorms are happening before the wedding. This is so good. Now it'll be a beautiful day. We woke up this morning, gorgeous day, absolutely beautiful, partly cloudy, just beautiful. And I'm thinking, oh, praise be to God. Jack and Jonette are going to have a beautiful wedding at 4 p.m. And I just looked at the weather report, and at 4 p.m. there's going to be a major thunderstorm hitting again. So,
just make sure you're in the church by then.
Well, that we will for sure, Jerry. I'm getting there early. But here's the thing. We need our Take Two family to pray, because there is a chance if we could just have it pushed about an hour, because just a couple hours before that, it's going to be beautiful and just partly cloudy. So we ask the Take Two family, just pray that the thunderstorm just happens maybe an hour later or 2 hours later.
Who's the patron saint of chasing storms away? We'll have to look that up.
Yeah,
By the way, speaking of prayers, I just want to, I know you would join me in this, Debbie. Debbie is traveling, and I've been just really stacked up the last few days. We get your emails to take2@EWTN.com, and some of you have asked for prayers and pretty urgent requests, and please know that we are praying for them, and we are going to reply to you just hopefully today, if possible, if not in the next 24 to 48 hours. But we just want all of you to know, if you've sent any kind of a correspondence to us, especially if it included a prayer request, that Debbie and I have those held up in our hearts, and the Lord is certainly being asked for his favor upon you right now. So
yes. Absolutely. Be assured of our prayers. And we can read all your emails, so please know that. I just want to say something else too, Jerry. About a month ago, we received just an abundance of emails, and some of you had asked for replies back. If you haven't gotten one from us yet, please resend the email to us. We're just trying to navigate a new email system. Remember, when emails come in, Jerry and I are the ones that read them. We each get them, so it's just something we're trying to to work through and make sure that we reply. So if a month ago, if you sent us something, you needed a reply, not sure you got one, send it again. We're fine with having repeat emails, right, Jer?
Oh, yeah, and repeat calls as well. If you've been on the show before, join us today. If you've never listened to the show or never called, once a month, the final Friday of each month, it's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and we do what we call Unscripted. We don't bring a particular topic to the table. You do. So if there's anything in the news, in the culture, how's your job going? What do the kids got planned for the summer? We can talk about anything, spiritual things. If there's something about the faith that you're a little confused or curious about, maybe you're not a Catholic, maybe you're a new Catholic and you just want to share how that's going for you. Anything on your mind, it's 833-288-3986. We do have one phone line open available. We're going to start with Nate here in just a moment on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I am Jerry Usher along with Debbie Georgianni, who is in Tampa for the wedding between John Benkovic and Jack Williams. And you probably run into a lot of people by now, huh, Deb?
Yeah, it's been fabulous. I just can't wait. It's just a wonderful time for all of us to get together as just a big Catholic family, and I love that. So yes, this is Unscripted, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. You are the key person here. When we come back, like Jerry said, we're going right to Nate. So Nate, hang on. You're first up on Take Two's Unscripted. We'll be right back.
Third Millennium Media presents Debbie Georgianni.
The world tells us not to be merciful, and we as Catholic Christians are called to take a step back and look at it in a different way. We must practice mercy, especially if we want to receive mercy.
Debbie Georgianni, co-host of Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, wants to visit your parish retreat or conference. Invite Debbie Georgianni today online at thirdmillenniummedia.com.
Christ is the answer, with Father John Riccardo.
John 6, verses 48 to 58. Jesus says, I am the bread of life. Your fathers ate the manna in the wilderness, and they died. This is the bread, meaning me. This is the bread which comes down from heaven, that a man may eat of it and never die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. And the bread which I shall give for the life of the world is my flesh. At which the Jews disputed among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? They're scandalized by this. How is it that we're not? How is it that we just hear this and go, oh yeah, I know that passage? They're just outraged and at least perplexed. Sane people, inspired teachers, wise men, prophets don't say things like this.
Thank you for being with us today, and any chance you get to tune in to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie or other EWTN programs, there are so many of them, including The Good Fight with Barbara McGuigan, Saturday afternoons at 2 Eastern Time. I love listening to Barbara. She does put up the good fight, and she encourages you and me to do the same thing. And this week, her guest is Carl Keating, the founder and former president of Catholic Answers, discussing his new series, Debating Catholicism. So be with Barbara McGuigan tomorrow at 2 Eastern Time on many of these EWTN stations. Okay. Wow. Lots to get to here, Deb.
Jerry, we have full phone lines.
All right.
How unusual on Take Two.
Right.
No, are you? Okay, Nate, you got our virtual First Up Award for the Unscripted show, listening in Texas on EWTN.com. Hi, Nate. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. How are you doing today?
Good, Nate.
Great.
How about you?
I'm doing well. I just wanted to kind of start off by saying I'm going to be saying a rosary for Jeanette and Jack. Congratulations, if you guys are listening. Also, just real quick, I just wanted to let do y'all remember that caller Jason from a few weeks ago?
Oh, yes.
Like he had gotten out of jail. Okay, well, I heard his commercial the other day, and I just want to say, Jason, if you're there, brother, I'm praying for you, brother. Kind of nervous here. I just wanted to tell you my testimony. I'm going to make it as quick as possible, so other people can come in. But about 4 years ago, I was going through a divorce. At the time, I was listening to the podcast of the great man, Father John Riccardo. And he was saying at the time God's work in me in which I respond. And I didn't really take it seriously. I was like, well, whatever, I'll just listen to him. Well, I was in a very dark time, nearly committed suicide. I surrendered my life to God. I mean, I've always been a Catholic, but I just surrendered my life to God, got on my knees and cried and just said, I'm done. I can't you control me. The following week, I was supposed to have my kids for the weekend, and it was mathematically impossible money-wise for me to feed them. I have hardly any money for gas. I'd been praying from Monday to Friday every morning, cried every morning going to work, cried every night, and just didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, I can't, my parents were going through a hard time. Nobody could help. I wasn't really active in the church. I was going to church, so I was like, I'm literally alone. Well, Saturday comes along. I was supposed to pick him up, and I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't even know how we're going to eat. I was thinking about going to a friend's house. And so we were supposed to do overtime at work. I did the 30-minute commute for overtime. I get to work, and they said, Nathan, we're not doing overtime. I was like, oh, well, thanks. I appreciate it. I only have about half of a quarter tank of gas. Now I got to drive back home. Thanks. I appreciate it. So I get home, and I'm just depressed and mad and angry, and I hear a knock at the door. And I was like, well, I wasn't expecting company, so, I'm sorry to say this on air, but I immediately grabbed my gun, And so I cracked the door open a little, and I was like, can I help you? And it was a middle-aged man. He goes, yeah, I'm just here to talk to you. And I was like, okay. So I opened the door, and he goes, my name is Chris. I was giving away boxes of food. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
It's all right, Nate.
He said, I've been giving away boxes of food from my church in Tulia, Texas, and for some reason I saw your car, and I had to stop. And so immediately I just said this, Chris, do you know me? He said, no. And I said, tell me this. Have you ever met me in your life? And he said, no. And I go, did you come here? Did you previously have my address? And he said, no. Of course, that's me being skeptical. And I opened the door and I said, my brother, I've been waiting for you all week, and you're here, and I love you. And come on in. So, of course, I brought him inside, started showing him pictures of my boys, telling them, and I told him the story about how the week went. And he goes, this is a miracle. We got on our knees, and in the middle of my, living room, we just gave thanks to God. And I sat there with my Protestant brother and told him how much I love him. And he told me he loved me too. And so every month, once a month, he would bring us food. It was really cool. And he said, this is what he said. He goes, I'm tired of going to a church where, we go in and we're hypocrites. Nobody's doing works. He goes, I don't understand. You have to do works. And I'm like, well, that's the Catholic view. And he goes, so I'm taking it on my own. And he goes, I wish I had a bigger truck to give more food to people. And I do have to tell you what Father Ricardo was saying. After that, I took serious. I said, God has performed a miracle. God's work in me. And now I have to respond. And I have to tell you, since that time, Jerry and Debbie, I have not been the same. And Father Ricardo, if you're listening, my friend, I love you, and you saved my life, brother.
Wow, Nate, that is powerful
Amen.
stuff. Yeah, and
Amen.
Thanks be to God. Thanks be to God for this experience and the sensitivity to the Holy Spirit on the part of, I believe you said his name was Chris. It is miraculous, Debbie. And I love your you said a little bit of skeptical there, Nate, but I guess I would be too. I'd be like, dude, have you been stalking me? Did you look at my address or something? How did this all come about? But Nate, you realize you put the glory where it belonged, and the fact that you two were so you bonded so beautifully. It's total Holy Spirit, Debbie. It's nothing other than that.
Oh yeah, and the expression of the corporal works of mercy and the spiritual works of mercy. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you to Chris for responding to the Spirit, because that was huge. But Nate, I just wanted to say something. You're a very deep soul. You can hear it in how you gave your testimony. And I just want you to constantly remember that you are, you obviously, if that's really how you are, which I believe you're going to say, yes, I am very deep, because by the way you just described and you got emotional. The good Lord has great things that he wants to do in you and through you. And I just want you to stay very focused and prayerful in all the distractions that may come around you. Please adopt the St. Michael prayer as well. God, it's interesting, your path, Nate. And I just want you to hold on to that and remember that's a blessing, but you gotta protect it because, being deep, especially spiritually deep, of course Satan's not going to like it. He's gonna absolutely do anything he can to detract you from it. So am I right on about that you're a very deep soul?
You know what? I really am, and like I said, I feel like Paul helped me out through a lot of that. I love St. Paul, and I just wanted to add, kind of on a closing. I've never been the same, and I've dove into my faith. I was listening to K-Love, and now I've been only listening for about a couple of months to, EWTN radio. It's changing my life, and I just wanted to say, my oldest son made his first communion this past Sunday.
Nice.
Happy for him. And then I don't know if you remember me, but, just on a closing note here, I've called every single Protestant church from Tulia all the way to Lubbock to look for Chris. And I've been looking for him for like 3 years. He told me he's from Tulia, and nobody even knows a Chris.
Isn't that something?
Wow.
Like every church. I've even called Catholic churches, and I'm like,
wow.
I got to find this guy. And it's crazy. I can't believe it. But also I had called in, please pray for Aaron. We pray for him every Friday to discern, if he has a correct vocation in his life. So I don't know if you remember me. But
yeah, certainly, yes. Nate, certainly, absolutely. Yeah, and you emailed as well, and we definitely are praying for.
Appreciate it, guys.
Oh, for sure, Nate. Yeah, we're praying for Aaron and for his discernment, and he's expressed some sentiments toward possible priestly vocation. So, but thank you, Nate. Thank you for sharing that. And if God wills that you and Chris get reunited at some point, I'm sure he'll bring it about, but maybe God used that moment to provide a miraculous Chris whom you'll never see again. So
that's right.
Anyway, thanks, Nate. We appreciate that.
And no accident that the name is Chris, because St. Christopher is a traveler.
Right. Thanks, Nate. Have a blessed
Nate.
day. Debbie, we got an email from one of our Stand Tall retreat attendees, member Madison.
Oh, yeah. Did she have the baby?
She says all is well. Her baby continues to grow.
Okay.
And she is showing, she sent a really lovely picture of herself and her love. And she says, remember the story about how St. Scholastica prayed for rain so that she could stay with her brother, St. Benedict. So Madison is suggesting that you pray to St. Scholastica to intercede to stop the rain today.
Stop the rain. I'm going to do that. Thank you, Madison. And what was I thinking? Madison's not due yet. What am I thinking? Right. I'm getting so excited for the Stand Tall. Yeah, I'm getting so excited for the Stand Tall baby. That's our first Stand Tall baby. Do you realize that?
Right.
Saint Scholastica. Okay, I'm going to pray. Will you pray too, Jerry, to Saint Scholastica?
I just did, as a matter of fact, yeah.
Okay, cool. Great. And Nate, if you're still listening, please keep us on the journey with you. We love journeying with all of our Take Two family, so please make sure you keep us on the journey with you. Okay, next up is, now it could be Alicia or Alicia from Houston, Texas. Alicia, okay,
yes,
from Guadalupe.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. My question is something that is bothering me, like at what age of our body will be resurrected?
That's a good question. What will our glorified bodies look like, and will we be a certain age? Debbie, have you delved into that before?
Because Jesus looked like 33-year-old, I guess.
Right.
Well, there's a lot that has been taught about this, Alicia, and you can actually go into the Catechism of the Catholic Church, I believe. Paragraph, I'll pull that up in a second. I think it might be around 1017. You can look at the Catechism of the Catholic Church, 1017, around there somewhere. Also, our church fathers have talked about it. When Jesus comes back, he will resurrect those, and the bodies will be our same bodies, but without any pain and suffering, and without any affliction, if you will. So it'll be in that perfect glorified state. Now, what age that looks like, that a lot of scholars and teachers have said that, possibly 33, because that's what Jesus was, or somewhere between 30 and 33. But, whatever the case may be.
Nice.
Yeah, but whatever the case may be, it's
That will be great.
right. But Alicia, here's the cool thing about it. It's free from any pain or suffering. That's what we need to remember. And so in that glorified state, we are able to really live out for all of eternity the amazing things that God has always had planned for us, and in a much freer, heightened way, because we're free from pain, suffering, and affliction. So it's really a fascinating concept to delve into, although I will tell you, I still believe there's mystery around it because we don't know all the specifics of it. And that's the beauty of it. I've often said to people, don't get so concretely thinking about what eternity is going to be like, and because I think it's going to be so much better. And that's why the good Lord wants us to experience everything we can experience here on earth, to live out our purpose and mission here on earth, so we can enter into that mystery of eternity in a much greater way. And so it's for me, it's exciting. But I'll tell you what, it gives me that challenge to do whatever I can do here on earth so that I can experience the most, God willing, in eternity. Does that help at all, Alicia? I hope I could kind of.
Yeah, it sure does.
Oh, good.
It's like the baby in the womb wanting to know how will be outside the womb.
Right.
There is no way him or she imagines how is he going to be.
Right.
I compare that, but just the age was bothering me. I don't want to be 71 that I'm now.
Oh, right. Well, see, at 71, you have maybe things that come along with that, with age. You're not going to have that in the glorified state. In the glorified state, you're in perfect condition, so it's a great feeling. I mean, I can't wait to get my thyroid back. I haven't had a thyroid in 25 years. It'll be nice to get it back.
Thanks, Alicia. We appreciate you joining us on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. It's Unscripted today. What do you want to talk about? Cindy has something on her mind or her heart in San Antonio, listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, and I want to thank y'all for your show. I love it. Love it. And we listen all the time to your show.
Thank you. You're very kind.
My question today, thank you. My question today is that, okay, my father and my mother and dad were married over 50, almost 60 years. My mother just passed away like 2 years from dementia, okay? And her and I were very close. We were like two peas in a pod. That's what I call it. And, of course, my dad was close to her, too, and I know he loved her very much. And my dad and I go to the cemetery a lot to go visit my mom, out of our devotion and our love for my mom, his wife, And my dad just told me not too long ago that he started seeing someone. And to my surprise, I was shocked. And to be honest with y'all, I was very hurt. I had different emotions. I was hurt. I was frustrated, and I was angry at my dad, So I'm like, how could you do this to Mom? How could you come over here and, excuse me, and hug the tombstone? And I know he's mourning, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that my dad loved her with all his heart. But I know in our Catholic faith that God says in our Catholic teaching, when someone's spouse has passed away, you're free to marry. That's right?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're free to marry. Mm-hmm. But I guess what I'm saying, Debbie, is that I guess I'm getting over it, is
right.
because I tell my dad, I'm sorry, I don't dare tell him. I've just kept this inside. Like, how could you be this way at the cemetery, but yet you're going to have a lady friend? It's just a lady friend, but even that, I'm like, wow.
Right.
But after bringing it before prayer and going to adoration, God help me with this. And I was thinking, you know what, Cindy? It's not about you. You have all these emotions. A lot of times we run our emotion, not logic sometimes, or intellect. It's kind of taken over. And because of my closeness with my mom, and we were, like I said, two peas in a pod, me and her, I just loved her because she was unconditional love to me. And I'm trying to understand how my dad could, go to the cemetery and because, guess what? I met someone. So can you help me on that?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was the director of adult formation for many years, this actually used to happen quite frequently because I was working at the parish level and we had a lot of funerals. And then a couple years later, one spouse would come in and they'd say, my wife or my husband died a couple years ago and I'm starting to feel very lonely. Okay, I'm going to hold that thought, Cindy, so you got to hang on because you hear that music. When we come back, I'll finish that, and maybe this could really help you and bring you some peace for you and your dad and your family and, of course, your beautiful mom. So this is Take Two, Unscripted. When we come back more with Cindy from San Antonio, Texas.
Dr. David Anders.
Our assurance of salvation is grounded in the objective word of promise from Christ, who said to the apostles, "Whoever sins you forgive are forgiven." Period. End of paragraph.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
Hi, I'm Doug Keck, and this is an EWTN bookmark brief. I'm speaking here with Obiang Uju Ikocha, author of Target Africa, Ideological Neocolonialism in the 21st Century, and it's published by our friends at Ignatius Press. Uju, tell us, what is this book about, and why is it of interest for Catholics?
It is about the Western countries, Western entities, Western foundations even coming to African countries, and they are coming, for something that looks good. They're coming to give aid, they're coming with help, coming with gifts, but then when you look closer, you see that there are gifts with strings attached. There are issues like abortion, contraception, population control, what happens with the youth and human sexuality, human sexual identity, all these things that are being talked about now, which is threatening now to erode our own cultural views and values.
The author is Obiang Uju Ikocha, and look for the book at EWTN's religious catalog, EWTNRC.com. Thanks for stopping by.
EWTN's National Catholic Register is America's most trusted Catholic news source. Try 6 free issues with our compliments. If you like it, you can subscribe later at a 35% savings off the newsstand price. Visit ncregister.com today.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
I come from the other side of the tracks, see? My uncle used to have slot machines. Put one nickel in and it's emptied. And I brought him home in a bag, and my mother looked at me. "Where did you get all that money?" I said, "I won them." "You didn't win them. He fixed the machine." I didn't care if he fixed the machine or not,
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
Hi, this is Cy Kellett. It's a great big Friday on Catholic Answers Live. Dr. Ray Garendi will join us to discuss being a grandparent. And then we close the work week with weird questions for Jimmy Aiken. Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on EWTN Radio. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
It is a Friday broadcast. Jerry Usher with Debbie Georgianni and you always drive the show. Last Friday of the month is Unscripted. So you bring to the table whatever you would like to discuss, ask, comment on. And Debbie, we're talking with Cindy in San Antonio. And you, fortunately and providentially, as is the case in so many instances, you have your own lived experience, or at least some knowledge of the issue that she brought up, and you had a thought that you were imparting.
Right. So just to finish up, so Cindy, this used to happen at the parish quite frequently. And typically what happens is when folks have been married for a long time, this, when they've been married for a long time and then they lose their spouse, they become very lonely. Their purpose changes and they're not sure what their purpose is. And then someone comes along that can be that companion for them. And they end up, falling for them, if you will. And so it can be kind of disruptive to the family because everybody else is remembering the incredible marriage and the incredible love that their parents had, and then here comes this stranger that comes in and it's kind of taking dad's or mom's attention, or it kind of detracts from what the original beautiful marriage and family was, and not so. I've had many priests that have sat down with families and said, no, that's not it at all. I mean, it never changes the beautiful love that your dad and your mom has and had. I mean, we all know there's no marriage in heaven, but we're all connected. We're all part of the body of Christ, the communion of saints. And so we're all connected, and that eternal love is still there. So I would guess that your dad is feeling very lonely. That's my gut feeling. And there's a couple things you can do is just ask your dad to take it slow, but I would, try to, and I'm sure you're doing it, help him in any way possible to not feel kind of displaced, if you will, because his identity has changed since your mom has passed 2 years ago. Does that, you see where I'm going with this?
Yes, I do. In fact, when him and my mom were married, we weren't that close. But now since, my mother has passed, we've gotten even closer, and he's been really opening up to me. And I go, oh, thank you, God, because there's some good that's coming out of this,
Right.
And just for him to open up and just to share, because he usually keeps a lot of stuff inside, and I'm just real happy about that. But, and I guess, like I said, I've been going to adoration and praying about, talked to a few friends about it. But I guess, and when I think about it too, Debbie, it's like, it's not about me. And it's like I want him to be loyal to my mom. And if I would just listen to my own words, Cindy, wants him to be loyal. But when I bring it before the Lord, it's like, Lord, what do you want for my dad? What do you want for my dad? And I've come to starting it. That's been kind of helping me in my healing. And it's not about you, Cindy. It's about your dad and me. Me and your dad.
Okay.
And I want my dad to be happy. I want my dad to be happy.
Right. But with that, Cindy, let me just also share something. If you can add this to your prayers, if I may suggest, that you want this woman to, if she's going to be a companion to your dad, you want her to be the best companion possible. And what I mean by that is that she is going to encourage his faith development. She's going to encourage his journey towards heaven, because that's very important. I will tell you, unfortunately, in this world, there's a lot of seniors that after their spouse dies, there's other people that come into their life, and they don't have necessarily good intentions or ultimate eternal intentions for them. And so I just want you, I'm not doubting that this woman's, I'm sure she's a great woman and everything. I'm just saying, please make sure your dad is still, take note of it, that your dad still should be on that path of journeying towards heaven. And that's the ultimate goal. We have to all focus on that. If we lose that focus, then we've lost our whole purpose here on earth. So does that help at all too? I mean, maybe just to kind of watch. And
it really does, because I'm just real quickly, I shared with a friend of mine, and she told me, how do you know, Cindy, that this person is not going to bring your dad to the Lord? He's Catholic, but he's not a very, in his faith, but I said, you're right. You're absolutely, so it's really like a confirmation of what you're saying, or a possibility, so I'm like, I go, you're right about that. So, and I know,
so
Debbie,
maybe get to know. Maybe get to know her faith development. Maybe get to know her faith development. Ask her about her faith. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and actually give her a chance instead of being negative and just like, I don't want to talk to you.
Right, right.
Like I said, it's like going back what I said in the beginning. It's not about me. It's not about me. So I feel better, and I thank you for sharing. And most important is, like, we have to pray for one another, and I know there's nothing impossible with God. I know that because he's proven it over and over and over, so.
Cindy,
anyway,
can we get your mother's first name so that we can add her to our book of prayers?
Sure. Her name is Mary, M-A-R-Y.
Mary, okay.
It's like our Blessed Mother Mary.
Great.
She's beautiful.
Well, and a thought just came to me. Thank you, Cindy, for the call. We appreciate it. What a beautiful heart you have, beautiful daughter that you are. And a thought just came to me, Debbie. It could be Mary who is praying for her Cindy's dad, because Mary certainly, as Cindy described, he wasn't
closer to the
particularly
Lord,
fervent in his faith, and she of course knew that. So maybe Cindy, it's her prayers that are helping out there. So you're doing a great job, Cindy. We're going to move on to some other calls here, but thank you so much for joining us here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Speaking of Mary, we have two Marys on the line. The first one is in Illinois, and Mary, forgive me, listening on St. Bernadette Radio to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Please say the name of your city in Illinois for me.
Chillicothe.
Chillicothe?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I learned something new today. Thank you. Thanks, Mary. Thanks for waiting.
Well, I had spoken to the two of you on your show. I'll try to be as brief as I can because my heart's just full. But I talked to both of you prior to joining the Catholic Church at Easter Vigil, and you asked me to call you back and let you know how that all went. Yeah. And I still have people telling me, yeah, you really were in there for 3 hours. It just, it was the most amazing, beautiful thing. My husband was a cradle Catholic, and when we got married, I'd been a Protestant my whole life, and we had decided through a few years to just become one, teach things from both faiths that we agreed with for our family, but to become Protestant, we raised our family that way. Within a year ago, I guess I would say, the Holy Spirit started to work on both of us through your network, something I'd never heard before. And Jeanette especially, I have to credit her words to me many times every day with just the encouragement to keep listening and have all of my questions and doubts answered. And in one of our classes, when I was going to RCIA in the beginning, I could see how happy this was making my husband, but I was not there. I was still ABC for sure, and went kicking and screaming on the inside, but not on the outside. And one day, one of our instructors, who's the director of education at our church, said these words, and that I really believe is what opened the door. She said, at some point in time, you need to trust the leadership of the church of the early church. And once I did that, I realized that I was the one that was in the way, and that when I asked God to just tell me the truth, the richness and fullness of the teachings every day just still blows me away. I'm so happy. And my husband and I have a brand new marriage. We've been married for 37 years. We have 3 married, wonderful children, 8 grandchildren. They are our next mission of helping navigate through all this truth and richness of the Catholic Church. But I want to thank all of you at EWTN and truly wish Jeanette and Zach a blessed marriage, and thank all of you for continuing to teach me the best thing that's in my life.
Oh, Mary, thank you. Bless you. Congratulations to you and your husband. What a beautiful journey. And I'm reminded of a quote by Cardinal Newman. I believe he's a blessed in the church on his way, God willing, to sainthood. But Mary, he said something along the lines of to be deep in history is to cease to be Protestant. And it's true. You discovered that. That was kind of like the last sort of key for you. And it was so providential that instructor at your parish said those words. You took it as a challenge. You said, I really do have to go find out what the earliest Christians believed and taught. But we thank you, Mary, for letting us be part of this, because Debbie, you say it all the time, Debbie. We want people to let us journey with you, because we truly feel connected, Mary, to you and to all of our listeners. We don't see this as just an hour on the radio every day, but we see this as really an opportunity for us to learn and grow from you, and hopefully a little bit in reverse as well. So, Debbie, you have some thoughts for Mary?
No, I just want to say it's just to listen to you, Mary. It's just I hear your heart is just open. I mean, you are just a sponge and absorbing all of it. I just love where you're at, and I just look forward to more calls from you or emails. You can always email us, take2, the number 2 at EWTN.com. And like Jerry said, just let us go along with you and journey with you, because I often say this, we're hopefully, God willing, we're all going to be in that heavenly sandbox together up there playing in heaven, and it's going to be a blast. Right, Mary?
Absolutely. And if there are any listeners today that aren't quite sure what to do, I just encourage you to, with a full heart for God, just ask Him to tell you the truth, and He will. And I asked my husband to choose my confirmation name for me because there are so many things to choose from, and it was so beautiful. I really wanted that to be his gift to me. And so he chose Mary, and that's what I like to be called. I'm not worthy at all to receive it, but it humbles me so much that that was his first thought. I just thought that was really lovely. But the richness and the fullness of the teachings of this church, this faith, the prayerfulness of the people of the Catholic Church, I've just never felt anything like it. And I didn't know all this time you've been praying for me. Wow. And my husband's family who have fallen away from the church, they have been praying too, the ones that are left. And God is so good. I'm just thankful that no one gave up and that now, you know, I'm part of something that's just truly, truly incredible. But the most beautiful part, if I can quickly end here, is that for the first time, for me, my hierarchy is God, husband, children, everything else. This truly for me is something completely independent. Earlier, when Jack was talking about Susie loving the Lord more than she loved him, that's where I'm at, and I've never understood that. So I am currently inside my sanctuary. I signed up to be a cleaner of the church because I just have to be in front of the Blessed Sacrament. So I had to get out of the vacuum cleaner noises so you could hear me. But wow. I thank everybody every day for you guys. Thanks. Keep it up. The television broadcasts are wonderful. And I would also implore everyone to please continue to pray for Ireland today as they vote for their referendum.
Yes. We will do that, Mary, and we have no doubt that you will be a beautiful instrument in the hand of God in the lives of your kids and grandkids. And Debbie, I absolutely love how she had the inspiration to ask her husband to choose her confirmation name. I've never heard of anyone asking somebody else to do that. I think she called it a gift. What a gift it really was.
And I love it. Oh, Mary, we could listen to you all day long. God bless you. Keep us updated. We just love it. You blessed our day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow.
Hey, real quick, I want to mention, speaking of prayers, Amal from India, just on YouTube, said, please pray for 13 youth protesters who were shot and killed here in India. Mm-hmm. The people in Tuticorin, India, are protesting against a big business that is destroying the air and the land around them. So, Amal, we will definitely pray. Amal. Deborah on Facebook, celebrating 63rd birthday on Memorial Day. So, Deborah, happy early birthday. She says, I thank Jesus for my life. He is my inspiration to keep persevering. So, thank you both for your social media correspondence. Okay, where are we going next?
Okay, up next is Jose in Denver, Colorado on Denver Catholic Radio. Hi, Jose. Welcome to Take Two.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Hi.
Good. Welcome back,
you?
Dear brother. How are you?
Doing great. Where do I start? First of all, thank you guys for being there for me this last year. It's been quite challenging and up and down and whatever. You guys have become the source of where I can speak out my mind without being judged. And you guys always give me the opportunity to express my feelings, even though some people have the mixed feelings about the Catholic Church towards against people with HIV. Today, Friday, will mark 1 year when I was diagnosed with it. I remember that night like if it was right now. But thank you guys for doing that for me. I cannot express how thankful I am for you, for my confessor, Father Freeman at the Basilica, Father Kate, the rector, for her great preaching and everything that they do, for her constant support to Catholic Radio here in Colorado. Although that's secondary, I always like to put efforts to other people in much need in mind. Like a week ago, we had a shooting. We had another shooting today, and it keeps happening. This is not normal. At the same time, we have a commander-in-chief that chooses to refer to us immigrants as animals. They're Caucasian Americans. We are not your enemy. We love this country as much as you do. I remember being a 15-year-old when I didn't have a chance and when I didn't have many more opportunities and when my aunt didn't have a choice other than send me to the country that sometimes I'm very thankful, but sometimes I'm very, very aggravated by the way we get treated. my tears are not for me, but it's for all those people who are trying to cross the border. I know we're supposed to protect our borders because it's the right thing to do. But at the same time, we cannot treat humans like animals. We are not the enemy. And we have to stop these shootings in schools. Kids are the future. They are our future. And if there's any millennials like myself, if there's any teenagers out there, just like the last caller, I would invite you over to go to the Blessed Sacrament. It's something that I do sometimes when I'm at work. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, even a minute. The greatest thing about the Catholic Church might be that whenever you go there, no one is going to judge you. And it's something that I'm very, very thankful to my former parish in Santa Monica. Santa Monica has become one of my favorite saints, not because I just live in the city, but because that's one of the greatest parishes you can ever be a member of. That's the more welcoming place where I was finally able to say, oh, Catholic Church is not the way it was presented to me as a kid. Catholic churches, they have these prayers. The Monsignor Lloyd Thorson prays on Easter and Christmas, and he says, if you divorce, you are welcome here. If you're gay or straight, you are welcome here. We hate the sin, but we don't hate the sinner. We are welcoming everyone, and we have to go back to God, and we have to pray to Mary. We have related Guadalupe as the patron saint of the Americas, and when I refer to the Americas, I don't refer just to the United States of America, but I refer from Argentina all the way up to Canada. We are all humans, regardless of the color.
Jose,
So
let me, if I may,
that's
just
what I have for you guys this morning.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for everything that you guys been doing for me in the distance. I'm trying to work towards things that you guys might have recommended. Maybe I want to set up a little table downtown Denver where I can sit down and pray for others. I have another project where I want to take pictures and a story of immigrants who have come just here like myself. And like I said, we are not the enemy. We love this country as much as everybody else does.
Well, Jose, let me say, first of all, thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for all the times that you've called in, and for your kind words about us being there for you. But we just feel like, without you and our other listeners being there for us, we really don't have any reason to be on the program here. So, and we love you, Jose. I hope that comes through. We love you very much, and we know what you have gone through and are going through. You mentioned with the health issues, and the status issues and all of that. And you were right. I think you nailed it on the head, Debbie. I think he nailed it on the head when he talked about the change of his understanding and perception of the church and how welcoming the church is. Because let's face it, Jesus died for everyone. And there is no institution on the face of the earth that can be or ever will be as welcoming and loving and merciful and kind and forgiving as the Catholic Church. Jose has discovered that, Debbie, and he shared that very, very beautifully and eloquently, I believe.
Oh, as you always do, Jose. You are a very, very strong individual, and I love that about you. And you focus on God and let the church be there to continue to deepen your faith, to help you, to comfort you, to support you, and also to challenge you. Because remember what I said at the earlier call, our focus is eternity. So we must live out this earthly life with a purpose and a passion, okay? And then hopefully, God willing, when we meet God, we hear those wonderful words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant," and it's just beautiful. So Jose, keep the faith, keep strong, and we love hearing from you. Please don't be a stranger. You're welcome anytime. So thank you so much. Can I quickly just say this, Jerry? We get a lot of folks that ask, how can you get at all the programs on EWTN? We want to make sure there's different ways to do it. I've recently come upon podcasting, which I think is so cool. The podcasts are so cool. It's basically a way of saying, you want audio on demand, and you can get your EWTN programs right to your mobile device, and it's just an easy way to reach all the programs. And like it was said earlier, Johnette's program, how wonderful it is to listen all the time, and maybe Take Two and Dr. David Anders and the Pop Checks and Dr. Ray Garendi, and it goes on and on and on. Go to podcasting. All you have to do is visit EWTN.com/podcast to check out the podcast today.
All right, on Facebook, Steve asked a question that, Steve, you may have to call Open Line or Catholic Answers Live. Do Catholic cemeteries limit burials to just Catholics? Debbie, I'm not sure of the answer to that.
I do not I can't say this firsthand, but I know that my husband and I are being buried at the Catholic cemetery, and I understand I think it's welcoming to others as well, but I'm not sure. That's a good question. I had heard back in the day that it had to be one person should be Catholic, but then I hear no, I think you can. I'm going to double check that while we go to Carol. Can we go to Carol?
Sure. Carol, we got about 60 seconds, but we see what you wanted to say, and it's a sentiment that we share with you. Hi, Stand Tall Carol. Welcome.
Yes, Stand Tall Carol. Thank you very much. I'm so happy you brought Jack and Jeanette's wedding to the front of the regards, because they've done so much for people, and now it's a day for their happiness. So I hope everybody prays for them. I think it's 4 Eastern time, wherever you are. The prayers, rosaries, adoration for a special couple, and they've given so much to people through their definition of what Catholicism is. With their witnessing of adoration and dedicating themselves to Mary and just living life on the Catholic high road. So you're very lucky to go, Debbie, and your husband, and I just hope everybody keeps them in mind. And I guess they're taking, in lieu of gifts, they're taking donations to EWTN and Women of Grace too. So that's real cool too. So anyway, thanks very much.
Yeah, well, thank you, Carol, and we want to continue to pray. You heard at the beginning of the show that we're in Tampa, and the wedding is taking place at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and there's supposed to be, right at 4 p.m., a big thunderstorm coming in. So we're going to pray to Saint Scholastica and others that it is just... it's just going to be a beautiful, blissful ceremony. Well, maybe actually it could be kind of fun when they exchange vows, Jerry, when they say "I do," and you hear a big crash and the heavens open up. Yeah.
Well, we're not. Thank you, Carol, for the call. Christine, John, and Mary. I wish we had time for all of you. Mary in Ithaca, though, it looks like you were gonna offer prayers to stop the rain. So please do so. And like Carol said, Jack Williams, General Manager of EWTN Radio, and the lovely, incomparable, eloquent, articulate Johnette Bankovic. Really a pioneer in Catholic radio. We all owe a lot to her.
Yes.
They don't want any gifts, but if anybody listening wants to honor them and their wedding today at 4 p.m. Eastern time, you can make a donation to Women of Grace, or, like I did, to EWTN. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So thank you, Carol. Thank you, Mary. Thanks to everybody else praying. Can I quickly just say this? This was an online check that I just did. So this sounds accurate. It says nothing in canon law prevents a non-Catholic from being buried in a Catholic cemetery. However, diocesan particular law would govern cemeteries at a more detailed level. So you should check with the diocese on the particulars of each cemetery.
There you go, Steve on Facebook. Ron on email. Thank you, Ron, for your show topics. And Ben has a show topic from Nigeria, the persecution of Christians in light of the 2 priests and 17 others who were killed there. We need prayers for our brothers and sisters all around the world. Deb, what's coming up tomorrow and Monday?
Well, tomorrow is a best of is Why Do You Love Our Blessed Mother So Much? This is the month of May still, so we are honoring the Blessed Mother, and we had our folks share why they love the Blessed Mother, and we have a special show prepared for you on Memorial Day. So until our next live broadcast on Tuesday, have a beautiful and blessed weekend. We'll see you real soon.